He is on a mission to drive transformative entrepreneurship across Africa with over a decade of experience and a bold commitment to empowering young people and small businesses. Langa stands at the intersection of innovation, education, as well as impact. And Langa is also here. Hello.
Greetings, Sis Puleng. I hope you're good, and greetings to the listeners wherever they are across the continent.
Welcome to the
Thank you.
Langa was like 2 hours before interview. I am a chief chief creative officer, but I'll be there.
There's a story to me being early. 2017, we were called on to one of your sister stations for an interview. We launched this groundbreaking app for women abductions. It was a solution against women abductions as well as women abuse. And we got to the interview late.
But what happened?
Because of the Jersey traffic.
You were coming straight from KZN to
Exactly, for the interview. Oh. And we missed the interview.
With so
that was, and the producer, she dealt with me. You need to take yourself seriously. You're a businessman. Yeah. I cried.
That is so sweet.
So that was a big learning and lesson for me.
Yeah. So you were scared. You're like, I must just make sure whatever happens, I'm inside the headquarters. I don't want to cry again.
Certainly. But also I come from a very strict family. So my father is always, you need to go early, you need to leave early, you need to be there on time. So he's very strict, he's a disciplinarian. So I think that I take some of those from him as well.
Why are you always talking about millions? Are you money driven or like what drives you? Really, let's start there.
It's the purpose to drive social transformation. And that's why I've been on this journey. Pretty much in everything that I've done, whether it's photography, whether it's sound, eventing, radio, TV, everything has been driving towards social transformation to ensure that we can open up economic opportunities for ourselves. That's my perspective to this. We don't wait for leaders, we don't wait for the president, we don't wait for any political party. We've got to grab the bull by the horns as young people and drive the change that we want to see, that we want to be. So that's the bigger drive. Money is a resource, it's a tool to then drive the transformation. So it's extremely important, of course.
Yeah, of course. You spoke about 2017, which still grabbed me even now. You were here to promote an app at Ukozi.
Yeah.
And it was about an app that was meant to curb the abduction of women. What happened to the app? We need it with what's going on now.
Exactly. We could not scale the app because we lacked money. We only raised, remember there was a lady who then became a shareholder in the company. She invested 25,000 rands.
Yeah.
That's how far we could go.
We could get.
Now, understanding that you need to hire a developer, get servers, you need office space and all of that stuff. So that's why the money is so important. So we could not scale it further because the app was, if you adapt it, you tap onto the screen, and then what it would do is it would send the GPS coordinates as you are in transit to your family members, so that they can then be able to track you. That in essence, that was version 1 of Imbokodo App. And it was great. 1,000 people downloaded the app. And I called some of the women who had downloaded the app, actually. They were extremely happy about the solution. And then, of course, they raised some of the gaps which we wanted to then fill for version 2. But unfortunately, we could not push it on because it was not generating any revenue. So we had to then pivot into education.
Yeah. Shame. So you can bring it back, seeing that you're still in the game, you're still in the tech space as an entrepreneur. You have bad partners now. You can, maybe you don't even have to lead it or be as invested as you were before in terms of doing the work on the ground.
So I think I would put this out to any young person who says, there could be, may graduate, maybe you have done IT, and you say you want to champion this, please do reach out to me, and then we'll give you some of the resources so that you can then see this through. Because for now, we focus on education, but we're more than happy to help any young person who says, I want to champion this initiative.
Because I am for ideas that are specific to a community that you exist in.
That's why we're doing what we're doing now, right? With introducing young people into robotics and Internet of Things. That's precisely the reason, because we want young people to develop products looking at the problems in our communities, right? For example, this problem of abductions, we could solve it much easier. We already had a version 2 and 3 at that time that were conceptualized. Developed a wearable device. So suppose, for example, because we're Africans, we think about beads, right? So you think about those accessories that women wear always around their wrists. So think about then inserting a chip and a sensor into a bead, so that if it happens, then the woman would then tap onto the bead. So that would be a security feature. So there's many other ways in which we can look at, but certainly we want more young people to come through, join our labs across South Africa. We have got mentors, we've got some of the resources. We don't have everything, but we have the will, which is more important.
Yeah. So let's get back into what you do, but I want to get into the Robotics Academy. Tell us a bit more about it.
So we started the Robotics Academy in 2017, actually, looking at where the world is going, where economies are going, looking at the shift. But now the bigger challenge that we have and that we had identified even at that time was to say the talent that is being produced in institutions of higher learning, and even in all lower levels as well, is not suitable and relevant to the demands of today, as we're seeing the shift and the changes. And so that's why you have millions of young people, graduates sitting at home with degrees, with diplomas, and they are unemployable because the skills that they have are not relevant and cannot be integrated into the current gaps that we see in the economy as well as industry. So that's why we then started AlgoAtWork Robotics Academy to say we want to facilitate and close this gap where we want to produce new age skills, new age talent that is going to be able to participate in the economy, that is going to be able to be absorbed in the job market and create amazing products that can be scaled globally, and launch them into global markets, create amazing companies of the future. So that is the story of AlgoAtWork, and it has grown today to 5 provinces as well as 8 regions in South Africa and growing really fast, hopefully also across the continent as well. We work with private and public partners. Mostly it's public partners. For example, CETA's, CHET has one of our biggest partners. We work with MICT CETA. We work with Gauteng government as well. So we work with a number of partners who come in to say, these are the resources for us to be able to open up these programs. And so young people don't have to pay any fees. They don't have to come in with any of the laptops and the equipment that is needed and necessary for this program. We provide everything, including the facilities.
What do I need to apply? Let's say I'm in high school and I want to.
We want the will.
Okay.
Do you have the will, the drive to say, I want to see the change? I'm seeing the problems. I'm seeing the potholes. I'm seeing the street lights that are not working. I'm seeing the traffic lights that are not working. What is it that I can do? That is the biggest requirement for you to join in our movement, in our network. Everything else we introduce you to. What we want is the drive and the passion for young people who say, we want to see the change in South Africa. That's the biggest requirement. We'll then mentor you further in terms of how then can you then develop your product, because when they are part of our academy, they have to develop solutions, they have to develop technologies. But now the bigger question is then, how then do we commercialize this? Register the patents, for example, which is extremely important so that we can protect the inventions and the ideas of young people. And then from there on, how then do we raise more funding so that this can be commercialized, scale further, and launched into many markets?
All right. So you said you train entrepreneurs, but that's a separate division, that one.
It's part and parcel of the same umbrella under our group, because a year ago, because of the work that we're doing, the founder of BrownSense, Soni, asked me to step in as the managing director of BrownSense, considering the work that we've been doing in talent development and entrepreneurship. And so what we're doing is then to say, let us also launch a BrownSense Business Academy, that after you have done the technology training, you have now your prototype, you have now your demo technology and products, we can then move you into BrownSense Business Academy so that we can then train you on the business aspect of things, communication, marketing, financing, fundraising, most importantly, so that you can then see your product through. So that is the connection in essence. We work with entrepreneurs. We run a number of programs. We just ran another one, funding opportunity, where entrepreneurs got 30,000 rands cash for their businesses. Just a couple of weeks ago, we partnered with Old Mutual on that initiative. So we run a number of these programs to ensure that we impact entrepreneurs in this country as well as continent.
All right. And look at your journey. It's a very inspiring story.
It is grace. God has been with me, has been with us on this journey. It has been extremely tough. It is tough.
It is tough.
Because it is cash intensive.
Yes.
You can imagine running all these provinces, the operations there every day. There's 5, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 that is needed for this or that. So it's God's grace, and we really are appreciative. Also the support from also our family. Some of the strangers will come through and support us as well. But most importantly, our partners, because we would not be doing all this impactful work without our partners.
And who got you your business side of things training? Who mentored you on the business side? Because you could be a robot with soul, but that doesn't mean the robot knows the business.
Who mentors me? This is Pulang, who mentors us? Because the situation coming from townships and stuff, we don't have mentors. That's a reality of things. But for me, but for me, not quite. But here's been my process. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Okay. I watch a lot of podcasts. For example, Silicon Valley, your Jeff Bezos's, your Steve Jobs, Elon Musk's. I watch documentaries to understand how they think, how they see the world, their perspective, how did they get through this and that, their approach to product development. So for me, that's my mentorship. But the big chunk of it also is I look inwards. I believe in intuition. So I use that a lot to navigate what we should do, what we can do. Also wild in terms of ideas. So we're always trying things and failing. So I think failure has been also a big launch pad for us, where we fail fast and we learn. And from there on, we adapt, we shape things up, we do the tweaks. So for us, that's been the process. So we're mentoring ourselves, so to speak. I'd say to young people, as we close, please use the little that you have to be the change and advance your cause as well as the situation around you.